Don't be surprised if Jack Della Maddalena shocks the world this weekend. He's taking on Islam Makhachev in the main event of UFC 322 in the most entertaining and interesting fight since Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Let's be honest here. When it comes to like who's the biggest challenge right now, it's clearly Islam Makhachev. He is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, rightfully so. It's not even a close second. Even with Ilia Topuria having 2 belts, Islam is going to get a second one, or he's going to try. But I think, I have this sneaky suspicion, you bunch of crotch goblins, I have this sneaky suspicion that Jack Della Maddalena is going to show out and show just how good the 29-year-old Aussie is. Before we get in this episode, in the description, I've got Substack, I've got Discord, and like and subscribe. Yeah, help the channel. This fight is so interesting to me, guys. It is so interesting to me. It's one of those fights where I can't quite pick between the two because, like, it is hard denying what Islam Makhachev does. And you could be a hater and be like, oh, I hate all these Dagestani guys. They're horrible. They're the worst thing ever for the sport. But then you have to come to grips at one point or another that Khabib is 29-0. And Islam is 27-1 on a 15-fight win streak, getting ready to tie Anderson Silva's 16-fight win streak, longest in the UFC. Crazy what he's done. Now, granted, Islam's competition is nowhere near what Anderson Silva's was. Sure, he fought nothing but featherweights at 155, or people who made featherweights. Like, and look, I'll be real. Like, yeah, Dustin Poirier's not a real featherweight. Charles Oliveira, not a real featherweight. Moicano, not a real featherweight. But they all didn't make featherweight. I mean, they're all smaller of stature, smaller of frame. Guess who can't make featherweight? Guess who can't make lightweight? Jack Della Maddalena. That's interesting fight. Like the things that make this fight so interesting to me is like the fact that he's not jumping up from 45 to 55 like Ilia or Conor McGregor. Yeah, Alex Pereira can fight comfortably from 185 to 205. Like, that's a big weight jump. Not as much when you're that big. But when you're going from 55 to 170, a 15-pound weight jump, that's a lot. That is a lot of weight to carry. Islam fades all right in the beginning of fights. Or towards the end of fights, I should say. He fades. He slows down. Put extra weight on him. What happens then? We see it all the time. Like, you're carrying all this extra weight. Because like there's this optimal spot where fighters are. You go and cut too much weight, you're too tired. Look at like Cody Garbrandt going to flyweight. Like, never stood a chance. Or TJ Dillon. Like, you cut too much weight, you get tired. You put on too much weight, and you get tired because you carry too much weight. So the question really is, like, does Islam Makhachev sit in that happy medium at 155? Now at 170, the weight, the age, that kind of stuff, that doesn't really concern me as much as like the stylistic matchup, because Islam Makhachev is incredible in so many different areas. He makes so many good reads. Like, it's hard to ever pick against him. But you got the Wonder Kid. You got Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena dethroned Belal Muhammad, saved us from champion Belal Muhammad. Because let's be real, Belal Muhammad is not the type of champion the UFC wants. Just can't be Belal Muhammad. Anybody but. Jack Della Maddalena is that dude. And he doesn't get quite the respect he deserves because he hasn't beat the best. He kind of got the title off of like, okay, Belal's like a placeholder champion. Whoever's the real champion will step up. It should be Shavkat. Shavkat should have got the title. Should have been him, but he hurt himself. And, like, because if you remember, like, it was supposed to be Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat. And, like, nobody gave Belal Muhammad that shot. Like, Belal beat Leon Edwards, who decided to fall off a cliff the second they stepped into the octagon a second time. So Belal's not the champion. Belal pulls out that Shavkat fight. Remember that, and he had to ended up fighting Ian Machado Gary. So in comes Jack Della. He's like, okay, well, his leg's shot. I'll fight him, I guess. I'm top 5. And, you know, he has an incredible performance. Absolutely outperformed everything he's ever done. You know, he's kind of underperformed in that Kevin Holland fight. Gilbert Burns fight was good, but it was kind of like, okay, he needed that knee to get the win. It concerns me seeing that, but then watching that Beneil fight over. We got a tape study coming on this, by the way, guys. Should be tomorrow. The next day it should be coming out. But you look back at that fight, and he does some really good things to stop the takedown, mainly cutting angles. The high guard where he's blocking with his head. That's really cool. The trip, the 2-on-1 for the arm as Belal Muhammad's pushing him against the cage. So instead of digging an underhook on the other side, he inserts his arm and he grabs the other arm to prevent them from locking hands. Those things right there, and the fact that Islam Makhachev is not going to be able to weight bully Jack Della Maddalena, those things right there are the most interesting part of the fight. Because when you're fighting someone like Islam Makhachev, like that, and this isn't quite as much with Islam as it was with Khabib, but we know what Islam's coming to do. He's going to throw a jab, a left cross because he's a southpaw, and a left kick, a really good open side body kick, one that caught Volkanovski high. Jack Della does that little dip, and Belal, who's an orthodox fighter, tried to switch kick him with the front leg, couldn't quite get it. Did it a couple times in their fight. What if Islam finds that? What if he's more powerful at 170 and he finds that? Because Jack Della Maddalena did like JDM blocked it. He kept his hand up. This fight is what MMA is all about. It really is, because it's the classic from when the UFC began. Like, you got the wrestler versus the striker who wins. And we've run this experiment over and over and over and over again. And, the wrestler outbeats the striker with Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva, though it was a knockout. Alex Pereira beats the wrestler Magomed Ankalaev. The wrestler Stipe Miocic beats, then loses to Francis Ngannou. We've run this experiment over and over again. And it never gets old. Never gets old. I can't keep thinking about this fight like it is consuming my day. I'm at work trying to put boxes together for my job, and I'm like, yeah, those angles, how's Islam going to handle that? Because he does kind of follow Poirier around when he shifts around and pivots off. So how is he going to handle Jack Della Maddalena's actual really good pivots? I catch myself thinking about this fight all the time. This is what MMA is all about. This fight right here. And if you're not excited for the main event of UFC 322, Jack Della Maddalena, I mean, come on, bro. The new kid on the block. And Islam Makhachev, the greatest lightweight of all time? Maybe. Moving up to take on a second belt, something Khabib never did? That's incredible. That's exactly what we want. This is the type of fights we need. And we're finally getting it. Finally getting what we deserve. Now, your co-main event is crazy because it's Valentina Shevchenko taking on Zhang Weili, another champ versus champ matchup. This time, Valentina Shevchenko is defending her women's flyweight title against the former strawweight champion who's vacated her belt, just like Islam Makhachev, to go up and fight for a second title. Not quite a 15-pound jump, but going from 115 to 125 is kind of similar to go in bodyweight percentage going from 155 to 170. Big jump for Zhang Weili. And if there's anybody that can beat Valentina Shevchenko that's smaller than her, it's the indomitable, incredibly smart, amazing team in her corner, Zhang Weili. Valentina Shevchenko's not looked good in her fights at all. She hasn't looked good in her fights for a very long time. She stands there and waits to counter. What is she going to do when someone's faster than her? What is she going to do when someone's smarter than her? The only advantage she got is that she used to be able to fight at bantamweight, the size. I don't think she out-wrestles Zhang Weili. I don't think she outstrikes Zhang Weili. I don't think they walk into the cage with the same aura. Zhang Weili's going to win this fight. She's going to dethrone Valentina Shevchenko, like Alexa Grasso, but this time it's going to be so decisive, I don't think they make the rematch. I think Valentina goes, whoop, up. Oh, let me see if I can fight Kayla Harrison. She said my name not too long ago. Kayla Harrison said if she wants Valentina to win, move up and fight her. Super fight, if you can call it that. But Valentina's old, y'all. Decrepit. She uses a walker to walk into the cage, for God's sake. She is just... I'm to be honest with you guys. Like, hold on, let's go over to the web. How long have we been dealing with Valentina Shevchenko? Because it's been so long. She is 25-4-1. Wasted her life fighting Alexa Grasso 3 times. Although, like, they gave Grasso the draw after being choked out in the first fight. Like, the Talia Santos fight. Struggled. Lauren Murphy, why did it take you 4 rounds to finish? Lauren freaking Murphy. Okay, the Jessica Andrade fight was good. Jennifer Maia, why you didn't finish her? Caitlin Seminara, Chukagian, why did it take 3 rounds? Liz Carmouche, rough. Jessica I, good performance. Joanna, why couldn't you put her away? Why is she not putting these smaller fighters away? The Joanna Jędrzejczyks, the Talia Santos. Oh, Talia's big. The split decision loss to Nunes. She beat Juliana Pena. Like, her resume is great. Like, you look at all the names she's beaten. Like, they're important fighters for what a women's resume should be. You know, you got the Amanda Nunes lost it in 2000. So we've been dealing with her since 2016, or 15, since Sarah Kaufman. But she's beat Holly Holm, champion. Juliana Pena, champion. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, champion. Liz Carmouche, was she a champion? No. Jessica Andrade, champion. Alexa Grasso, champion. Now she's fighting Zhang Weili, another champion. So you can't say, like, oh, she's scared. Because she fought the 145 champion in Amanda Nunes twice. Really close fights. She was also very young. It's been a decade of Valentina Shevchenko. A decade. It's time to move on. And who better to move on than Zhang Weili? You know, the Wonder Girl. Now, I'll give y'all this. Zhang Weili is 36 years old. She doesn't fight often. Actually, come on, I'll show you guys this too. She doesn't fight often. I'm looking at it here. She fought since Rose Namajunas, 2021, fought her twice. 2022, fought twice. Then she fought in 23, 24, 25, twice. This is the second time in 2025. It's a little bit of time in between that. So she's aging a little faster in front of our eyes. But boy, she's looked better every fight. The only fight she hasn't looked better than her previous one in was that Zhao Jinyan fight. And Yan Zhaojian overperformed. Period. I don't think Valentina Shevchenko is going to be able to bring anything to the table that's going to befuddle or confuse Zhang Weili. I just don't. I don't think that's first of all, I don't think it's in the cards. Is she going to out-wrestle her like Carla Esparza, who's okay at wrestling, couldn't? Valentina Shevchenko's an okay wrestler, but she's not going to get those free catching kicks that Zhang Weili, you know, like that she likes to catch against Zhang Weili. She likes to catch the kick and take you to the ground. Like, it's not going to happen. Zhang Weili's not putting herself in those positions. She's got too good of a team behind her. She's too smart, too cerebral. Zhang Weili's going to batter Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going out on the limb and saying that. She's going to beat the brakes off of her. Y'all just wait. It is coming and I can't wait. Sean Brady and Michael Morales. Not too much to say on this one, y'all. Michael Morales is coming off of his career best win against, I don't even remember who it was, Gilbert Burns. First round knockout. Neil Magny, another first round knockout. So the guy can hit. But Sean Brady is coming off of a very impressive win over Leon Edwards. I mean, Leon looked bad against Bilal Muhammad. He looked absolutely toast against Sean Brady. He's on a really good run of Kelvin Gastelum, Gilbert Burns, and Leon Edwards. You know, my concern with Sean Brady here is like the ghost of Kelvin Gastelum. Gilbert Burns, you went to a decision with. Was this a 3-round fight or was this a 5? That was a 5-round fight. And you went to a decision with him. And then Leon Edwards. Like, those aren't very good fighters right now. So I'm like, Sean Brady's been knocked out by Bilal Muhammad before. That's his lone loss. So could Michael Morales come out and surprise you? Catch you on the chin? Because if he comes out and just like blows away Sean Brady, and you're sitting there thinking like, wow, this guy's good. Like, we still haven't learned anything about Michael Morales, because there's still the question of what kind of wins has Sean Brady had? Because like we will know by the time Sean Brady's fight gets here what he looks like, because Leon Edwards is fighting Carlos Prates on the exact same card. But like, what Leon Edwards did he fight? You know, was it the Leon Edwards champion? I don't know. Michael Morales is very unproven, but the mileage is way, way less on him. 18 fights. I don't know. They're 18-0 and 18-1. Yeah, Sean Brady's fought on bigger stages, and this is going to be a massive stage at MSG. It's another one of those fights. It's another really good fight. Like, we're getting questions answered about the welterweight division that we need to know. And it's not just the main event, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Like, you've got Sean Brady, Michael Morales, Leon Edwards, and Carlos Prates. Is there any other 170ers on here? Does not look like it. Okay, so yeah, you've got 3 big answers. And then you've got Ian Gary fighting soon. Like, there's some answers coming out. And we're going to have to reckon with a new welterweight division that might actually be the best the UFC has to offer. It might. And that's weird. But I like it. I like it a lot. Another interesting fight. Benoit Denis is back. After being knocked out a couple times. Not knocked out, but thoroughly beaten a couple times. Actually, no, knocked out. Dustin Poirier and Renato Moicano. Now he's on a 2-fight win streak. Bounced back. Looked incredibly good against a guy nobody thought he should have won, against Marcusio Ruffy. He beat Kyle Pripolek and bounced back with a win over Fighting Nerds Marcusio Ruffy, destroying the credibility of that gym. And now he's facing Beneil Dariushk. Whoa, now, what is going on there? Benoit Denis is massive. He's huge. There's no way he makes 155 without cutting a leg off. Like, he has to have like a detachable leg or something he weighs in with, right? Like, he takes the leg off and he puts it to the side, weighs in 170 or 172. So he probably has to cut a little water weight anyway. That's how big he is. Oh, he's French Special Forces. Nobody cares about that. No. He is a really good fighter, though. But one thing you got to know about Benoit Denis, he's an open side body kick. Beneil Dariushk is a southpaw. That's gone. So how's he going to handle it? And I don't remember if Ruffy is a southpaw or not. And Pripolek either. I don't remember that. But I do remember, like, he didn't have that against Poirier, and he looked okay. I'm trying to see if it's listed on Tapology anywhere. It does not list it. You know, Beneil Dariushk is a very good fighter. He's one of those fighters that never got his day because he didn't stop fighting for his own good. You know, he ADCC competitor, 23-6-1, but he's on like a 2-fight losing streak, and that 2-fight losing streak was to Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. He bounced back and beat Moicano pretty convincingly via unanimous decision. That was at UFC 317. So this is interesting because like Moicano beat Denis, but Benoit Denis is still a heck of a fighter. And he's grown. He's more patient. He's not as, you know, he doesn't come out guns a-blazing, like firing on all cannons. That's not what he does anymore. So what got him in trouble against Poirier? He looked like Khabib against Poirier. Then he gassed out. Right hook knocked him out. Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say the best is blessed, but that's Max Holloway. But Dustin Poirier is blessed, you know? So you sit and you watch that fight, and you're kind of like, okay, but then you got the whole idea of like Oliveira and Tsarukyan both knocked him out in the first, and Benoit Denis does hit like a Mack truck, you know, he hits heavy. So it's like what Benoit Denis shows up, what Beneil Dariushk shows up, because this could be a really good passing of the torch for a Benoit Denis who has turned the corner, it seems like, and has made some really good habits. We haven't seen him against that kind of elite competition, you know. But if you put him like against a Paddy Pimblett next, you can possibly see like, okay, this dude is legitimate. Like Paddy would be a good name to build his resume on because like it's not going to really matter. He's not going to beat him that much. But Beneil Dariushk is interesting because off of his back he's really good. He's really good counter wrestling, which Benoit Saint Denis is going to want to come in there and do. So, like, my questions are like, can Benoit Saint Denis get him to the ground? And can Beneil Dariush's chin hold up? Because if those two things are in conflict, if Beneil Dariush's chin holds up and Benoit can't get him to the ground, fight's over. Benoit gets him to the ground. Dariushk still got some really good scrambles. You know, he can make his way out of there. So, how does Benoit Saint Denis capture position on the ground? He did well against, Marcusio Ruffy, but, like, Ruffy's not a grappler. Dude's dead in the water once he gets on the ground. He's like a dead fish on dry land. It's not going to do anything, just flopping around. So, yeah, that's an interesting fight. Bo Nickal and Rodolfo Vieira are fighting. This is the main prelim. They booted Bo Nickal off of the main card after a little bit of backlash. Let me get y'all back over here to the web while I'm looking at it too. Yeah, Bo Nickal coming off that loss to Renner de Ritter. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bo Nickal bounces back on this. He had that wrestling, that RAF against Cardenas looked really good. But that, he was on such a tear coming into the UFC, beating a Jamie Pickett, Val Woodburn, and Cody Brundage. You're like, okay. Paul Craig, okay. Let's put him against somebody good. Renner de Ritter, he gets body shotted to death. So Rodolfo Vieira, it's an interesting idea. Jiu-jitsu guy. He's going to come in. He's lost some fights. He's won some fights. He's got really good arm triangles, as you can see. But he loses fights to, like, Chris Curtis and Fluffy Hernandez. So if, like, Bo Nickal could bring a higher pace, keep it standing, I can see Bo Nickal getting away with a good win here over a very experienced Rodolfo Vieira. We might get some really cool scrambles here too. Roman Kopylov and Gregory Rodriguez. That's a fun fight. Gregory Rodriguez, if he gets out of the first round, he might be in trouble. Kopylov lost his last fight to Costa, but, like, Chris Curtis is, he's beat Chris Curtis, Cesar Almeida, Anthony Hernandez is a good fighter. We know how good he is, but RoboCop coming off that loss to Jarrett Cannonier, he beats Jack Hermanson again, first round knockout, and there's questions about RoboCop. I'd like to see him more reserved here. He kind of did his last fight, but not quite enough to my liking. Blanchfield and Cortez are rematching. What's the deal with Erin Blanchfield? Was she supposed to fight Macy Barber last? Yeah, that was the one that Macy Barber pulled out like 20 minutes before the fight. Malcolm Wellmaker is back, so they're getting a highlight against Cody Haddon. Gerald Mearshart, the dude, he's back against Kyle Darkins. I'm sorry, Gerald, you great jiu-jitsu, not as much of a fighter. Shepe and Pat Sabatini. It's an interesting fight. Shepe's got really good. He's just really good fighter. Pat Sabatini, though, is really good wrestler. Where Shepe struggles. I could care less about Angela Hill and Fatima McCline. Susarkayev is back against Eric McConaughey. And then Slava Kolaz is back too. I'm not a real big Slava Kolaz guy. I know a lot of people who are. But me, not quite so much. So yeah, UFC 322. Good card. Really good card. Lots of promise. Main event's obviously going to be the main attraction here. But there's some really good, like especially the other welterweight fights. Sean Brady, Michael Morales, and then Carlos Prates and Leon Edwards. We didn't even talk about that. Hold on. We didn't even talk about Leon Edwards and Carlos Prates. What am I doing? They're fighting. Leon Edwards lost 2 straight. Prates looked good. Struggled with Ian Gary. It's an interesting fight. If Prates could come out and throw the volume, throw the feints, and kind of get Leon Edwards kind of to reset over and over again, Prates can get out with a really high quality, really good win over an opponent who's very vulnerable right now. Leon Edwards is not going to have to worry about the takedowns from Carlos Prates, though, so he can afford to let his hands go a little bit here. But man, if Prates really starts to bang in the low kicks and really start to push Leon Edwards back, he can really start to run away with this fight. And it's only a 3-round fight too, so Prates doesn't really have to worry about reserving himself as much. He can go in and he can be a little bit more exciting, be a little more explosive. That's an interesting fight. Because Leon Edwards, the way to beat him, as we've seen with Bilal Muhammad and Sean Brady, is throw volume. Don't have to hit him hard. Just throw volume. Because he wants to engage in striking on his own terms. That's all it takes. Like, he wants to engage. So if you say, no, we're going on my terms, you can take over. And Leon Edwards is going to have to get over that mental block of, oh, I have to reset. Okay, let's fight. Oh, wait, he's coming at me, reset. So, oh, he's coming at me, reset. Eventually, it's like, 2 minutes to go in the third round, and Prates is up 2-0 with a third round in his pocket too. Like, you're gonna have to let something go. That's why, like, Leon Edwards. That's why Kamaru Usman beat him in the first fight, or almost beat him in the first fight, because like Usman was just throwing volume at him until that, you know, that headshot. Boom, pound for pound headshot. Like, we know how to beat Leon Edwards. His anti-wrestling is great. Against the fence is great. But is that going to come into play against like Carlos Prates? It is not. It's not going to come into play against him. Quite the opposite. It's not an issue. Leon might want to wrestle. If you want to know the truth. Look for some outside sweeps, kind of like he did against the first Belal Muhammad fight. That's the Leon Edwards that needs to show up. The one that fought Belal Muhammad the first time. The one with the chip on his shoulder. Because there should be a chip on his shoulder. Otherwise, they're going to just take his whole shoulder off and you're not going to be able to have any more chips. Like, it's just as plain as that. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this fight, guys. It's a really good one. This is a fun one, actually. One of the more fun ones on the card because it's like, ooh, former champion. And Carlos Prates is always good. Maybe he'll smoke a cig while he's fighting. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, this card, the welterweights still in the show. The coronation of Zhang Weili. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait. It's a really good fight. Really good card. I hope you guys enjoyed. Boom, right here, Fight Finders. I need to start getting this next episode together, this history episode. I've been thinking about it so long, and I'm like, all right, I think I finally got it in my head. I've got some stuff filmed, and I'm ready to start filming some more. So I am really excited to get this out to you. You guys are going to love it. But catch up. This is the 8th episode. 1 through 8's in the playlist. Go watch!